Yeah, stay close.
Stay close.
Stay close.
When you think of pensions, you will hear, if you just Google it, you'll find that there's problems both at the state level, many states, the county level, and the city level, and the federal level. So we're about to be affected on many levels with the underfunded pensions that are out there, meaning more is owed than is going in. This was created by mismanagement. They were allowed to create these pension debts without telling us they even existed till 2015. So that is the first time you will find it on our financial statements. This was going on all over. This was a rule that they were allowed to do. So we had no means to address this or know about it until then, as other cities. By then, we had amassed $8.5 million in debt. When I say debt, we pay interest, real interest. If, for instance, if you take what Irvine is doing, they are paying it off early because they're going to save themselves $150 million. Us, we paid 7.6% interest last year on our $14 million worth of debt. That's not a good, our returns on our investments are getting probably 2%. Our lovely treasurer here. We're getting 2%, but meanwhile we have this debt, and this debt is what we need to talk about. And so the League of California Cities is the foremost advocacy for cities, advising them what to do. Our city manager is a member, and our city is a member. They have put out a sheet of paper advising us to do two things in particular. One is pay off this debt. Don't just let it sit there. It's amassing a lot of money. And the second thing they're advising us to do is to find an alternative to amassing more pension debt. You cannot get an employee out of CalPERS, by the way. They don't allow you to do that. The only way to do it is you have to actually contract services, which creates a very uncomfortable situation for us because we all love our police. But I talk about finances and I try to do it as objectively as I can because I'm genuinely concerned for the city. We have a lot of debt. $14 million worth of debt is huge for us. Our income is only $21 million a year. And it only goes up 1% a year. Our employees are approximately 80% of our costs, including the pension. So when you see their stuff going up 3 and 4% a year, you understand we're about to hit a travesty here. Last year, our pension debt rose by $300,000. Now, if you consider that that's much more than we were able to pay. We were only able to pay about $1.2 million last year of the pension. Therefore, the part we couldn't pay was 3.3. You can see that's going up very quickly. So we need a means to address that. This tax does not include paying our pension costs, only a mere fraction of it. So the plan is to continue our pension debt and, of course, the interest payments. It does not also address our existing debt, and we need to get that under control. And personally, I haven't talked about it, but I really think we need a tax just to pay off our pension debt because the interest is so high that it's causing us additional problems. And it's just a temporary tax, and it doesn't even have to be a parcel tax. It can be a document transfer tax on real estate transactions. There's alternatives here. We've always had a city with very lucrative earnings in real estate, and there's opportunities for that. I know we have a lot of residents on fixed incomes, and I'm concerned for them. The pension is not going to get better. If we look at our CalPERS statements, what you'll see is they're allowing us to pay a negative amortized amount. This is causing it to go up further. So if you look at the statements, you will see as we're paying into them, the principal continues to go up because we're not paying off any of the principal, we're not even paying the interest. So until 2022 is when we finally start paying the principal. Unfortunately, because we're continuing to add principal, that negative date, that date of when the negative amortization payments start, continues to move forward. So if you look at the prior year statement, you will find that date was sooner, and it keeps moving. And it's a very dangerous thing for our city with our resources. And this is why I think that the city needs to address this holistically before they sign union contracts that are tied to CalPERS. You can't negotiate union benefits away for the future. There's something called a California rule that prevents that. Our union employees just agreed to pay their full side of their employee payments to CalPERS in their payroll. The problem is we had to turn around and give them a salary increase to offset that benefit, because you have to offset every benefit by California rule. That is why you can't change this. It can't be negotiated. Once those union contracts are signed, if you look at the CalPERS statement, our union contract is actually attached to it. It's all tied into one agreement. And there's very strong constraints on being able to change anything. That's my concern, and that's my hope, that the city, and that is why I support a no vote, because I want the city to go back, talk about what this means for the stability of our city. We have infrastructure problems, we've got high debt. We need to address it holistically. And it doesn't mean the police goes away. Those contracts are still there. They're still on contract. You can't get sheriffs or anybody else overnight. And even if you did, you should contract to multiple suppliers anyway. And this would take time, but this would give them the time to look at that and provide us choices, knowledgeable choices, on how to move forward. Thank you very much.